The screen froze on a single frame. 10 drawings stared back at me, each one a moment pulled from someone's worst night. A girl trapped in a school hallway with no doors. A man standing in his kitchen while something smiled at him from the ceiling. A child under a bed, watching feet that did not belong to anyone in the house. The timer in the corner read 9:59 and began to count down. Then the drawings moved. They didn't animate the way cartoons do. They twitched. They slid. Their eyes followed me. A low hum filled my headphones, and a voice whispered calm and close. These were submitted by subscribers. My mouse wouldn't move. The countdown hit 9:58. The voice continued. If you finish watching all 10, they will finish with you. The screen went black. 3 weeks earlier, I thought my summer job would be easy. My name is Lucas. I was 16, stuck at home in Ohio, and I needed money. When the email came from a channel called MHS Horror, I almost laughed. They wanted a temporary editor to sort story submissions for an animated compilation. 10 stories. Simple English. Real people. Real fear. The subject line said, VOL6, urgent. I replied yes before I could think too hard. The files arrived in a neat folder. Each story had a name, a short note from the person who sent it, and a warning label that read, Please animate carefully. That should have been my first clue. I opened the first story. It was short. A kid named Tyler wrote about a playground that moved when no one was looking. The second was about a babysitter who heard knocking from inside the walls. The third was a driver who followed a road that wasn't on any map. They were scary, sure, but in a normal way. I worked through the week, trimming sentences, fixing grammar, marking moments for animators. At night I slept fine. Then the fourth story changed things. It was called The Room with No Corners. The writer, a woman named Emily, said the room appeared in her house after a storm. The walls were round. The ceiling pulsed. She said time didn't work right inside it. When I finished reading, my room felt smaller. The corners looked too sharp. I shook it off and kept going. By Friday, all 10 stories were edited and ready. I sent them back and waited. That's when the second email came. No subject. No greeting. Just a link and a message, preview before upload. Midnight. Don't pause. I shouldn't have clicked it. I know that now. At exactly midnight, the video loaded. The title filled the screen in bold white letters, 10 terrifying horror stories animated, compilation, submitted by subscribers VOL6, MHS Horror. The music started low and slow. The animation style was simple. Flat colors. Thick lines. It looked safe. Story 1 began. It was Tyler's playground. Swings moved by themselves. The slide bent like rubber. The final frame showed a hand reaching up from the sand. My stomach tightened. Story 2 followed. The babysitter. The walls bulged. Knocking turned into breathing. The camera zoomed in on a crack in the paint. Story 3. The road that looped forever. The gas gauge dropping. The driver's face aging with every mile. I checked the timer. 7:12 left. Halfway through story 4, my lights flickered. Don't be stupid, I told myself. Old wiring. Storm outside. But the animation did something new. A small watermark appeared in the corner. It wasn't there before. It was my name. Lucas. I leaned closer to the screen. The letters faded, then came back, etched into the wall of Emily's round room. The narrator said, Some rooms don't want witnesses. The hum grew louder. Story 5 was about a dog that stared at a closet every night. In the animation, the dog's eyes slowly turned toward the viewer. Toward me. I paused the video. The screen went black, and my reflection stared back. For a second, I thought someone stood behind me. When I turned, my room was empty. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number, Don't pause. My hands shook as I hit play. Story 6. A school bus that dropped off one extra kid at the end of the route. The kid never spoke. Never blinked. In the final shot, he turned and smiled. My door creaked. Story 7. A mirror that showed yesterday instead of today. The character watched himself make a mistake he couldn't stop. I smelled something damp, like wet dirt. Story 8. A hospital hallway that grew longer every time the lights went out. The exit sign flickered and pointed the wrong way. The hum turned into whispers. Not loud. Close. Story 9. A voicemail from a dead phone. The message said, "I'm almost there." The timer hit 1:10. My room felt wrong. The walls leaned. The shadows stretched toward the screen. Story 10 loaded. The title card read, "The Compilation." I laughed, sharp and scared. That's not funny. The animation showed a kid sitting at a desk. Headphones on. Editing horror stories. His room looked exactly like mine. The narrator said, "Some people don't just watch. They join." The kid on screen reached for his mouse. The timer hit 0:10. I tried to stand. My legs wouldn't move. The kid looked up and met my eyes. The screen froze. That's when the intro ended and the black screen whispered, "Let's begin properly." I woke up on the floor the next morning with my laptop closed. For a while, I thought it was a bad dream. Then I saw the new folder on my desktop. Vol 6, Live Assets. Inside were 10 new files. Each one was labeled with a name. Tyler. Emily. Jake. Sarah. Mike. And the last one said, Lucas, Story 1? My phone buzzed again. A new message from MHS Horror, Chapter 1 Records tonight. You're already part of the compilation. The lights in my room flickered. And from inside my laptop, something knocked, slow, steady, and getting closer. Developer mode. The knocking did not come from my door. It came from inside the laptop. Tap. 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 Slow. Careful. Like someone learning the shape of the keys from the other side. I slammed the screen shut and scrambled backward until I hit my bed. The room felt colder than it should have. My breath came out in short clouds, even though it was summer. My phone buzzed again. MHS Horror, you're late. Story order matters. I stared at the message until the words blurred. My hands were shaking so badly I had to hold the phone with both of them. This isn't real, I said out loud. Saying it felt weak. The laptop lid lifted by itself. Just an inch. The knocking stopped. On the screen, the folder opened on its own. Vol 6, Live Assets filled the display. 10 files pulsed faintly, like they were breathing. The last one, Lucas, Story 1, opened. The screen showed my bedroom. Not a drawing. Not animation. A video. I was sitting at my desk, wearing the same hoodie, the same headphones. The timestamp in the corner said tonight, 11:57 p.m. The version of me on screen leaned forward and whispered, "Don't pause." I slammed the laptop shut again and ran out of my room. Downstairs, the house was quiet. My mom was at work. My dad wouldn't be home until late. The TV played a cooking show, bright and normal. I stood there shaking, trying to breathe like a normal person. "Okay," I said. "Okay. Think." I grabbed my keys and went outside. The air felt better. Real. I walked fast, then faster, all the way to the corner store. Lights buzzed overhead. A bell rang when I walked in. A man behind the counter nodded. "Hey," he said. Just hearing another human voice made my chest loosen a little. I bought a bottle of water I didn't need and stood there drinking it, telling myself I was fine. That this was stress. Too much horror. Too little sleep. When I paid, the receipt slid out of the machine. Printed at the bottom, in small letters, was my name. Lucas, Story 1. I dropped the bottle. The clerk frowned. "You okay, kid?" I nodded too fast. "Yeah. Printer glitch." I walked home without looking back. The sun was starting to set when I reached my house. The windows were dark. My room window looked darker than the others, like it swallowed light. I didn't go upstairs. I sat on the couch and waited. At 7 p.m., my phone buzzed again. MHS Horror, warm-up review starts now. Watch Story 1. Another link appeared. I didn't click it. At 7:01 p.m., the TV turned off by itself. At 7:02 p.m., the hallway light flicked on. At 7:03 p.m., I heard a whisper from upstairs. Lucas. It sounded like me. I clicked the link. The video loaded instantly. No buffering. No ads. The title card faded in. Story 1, submitted by Lucas. My stomach dropped. The animation style was the same as before. Simple lines. Soft colors. My house appeared on screen, drawn but perfect. The narrator's voice was calm and friendly. Lucas thought editing horror stories would be easy. The animated version of me sat on the couch, phone in hand. The narrator continued. He didn't know he was being edited too. The scene changed to my bedroom. The animated me opened the laptop. The knocking began. The narrator said, when the stories are watched, they wake up. Behind the animated me, the closet door cracked open. I paused the video. Nothing happened. No whisper. No message. No knocking. I waited a full minute, heart racing. Then the paused image blinked. Just once. The animated me turned his head and looked straight at me through the frozen frame. I hit play and screamed. The story rushed forward now. Fast cuts. The house darkening. Shadows stretching too far. The animated me tried to leave, but every door led back to the same room. The narrator said, once a story starts, it needs an ending. The closet door opened wider. Something tall unfolded from inside it. Not a monster with claws or teeth. Just a shape. Wrong angles. Too many joints. The animated me backed away, shaking. The screen cut to black. White text appeared. Ending pending. My phone buzzed. That's horror, good start. Now review story 2. I slammed the laptop shut and threw it across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the knocking started again. Not from the laptop. From the closet. Tap. 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 I ran. I grabbed my jacket and ran out the front door, not stopping until my legs burned. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay. The sky was dark now. Streetlights buzzed on. Houses glowed warm and safe. I knocked on my friend Ben's door so hard my knuckles hurt. Ben opened it, confused. Dude? What's wrong? I need to stay here, I said. Just tonight. He looked at my face and nodded. Yeah. Sure. Come in. His house smelled like pizza. His dog wagged its tail. The TV played a game show. Everything felt normal again. I told him I had a bad dream. I didn't tell him about the video. We played games. We laughed. The clock crept past 9, then 10. At 10:30, Ben's dog froze and stared at the hallway. Its ears flattened. Buddy? Ben said. What's up? The hallway light flickered. My phone buzzed. MHS Horror, change of location detected. Adaptive rendering engaged. What? I whispered. Ben frowned. You say something? The TV screen glitched. For a split second, the game show vanished, replaced by a cartoon hallway that looked exactly like Ben's. The narrator's voice slipped through the speakers. Stories travel. Ben stared at the TV. What the? The hallway door creaked open. Ben's dog backed away, whining. From the hallway, something stepped forward. It looked like a drawing that hadn't finished loading. Its edges shimmered. Its face was smooth, like someone erased the features. It tilted its head and spoke in Ben's voice. Lucas, you didn't finish your story? Ben screamed. I grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the back door. The thing moved fast, gliding instead of walking. The lights popped and went out one by one. We burst outside into the cold night air. Ben slammed the door and locked it, breathing hard. "What was that?" he cried. "I don't know," I said, and hated myself for lying. From inside the house, the TV volume rose. The narrator said, loud and clear, "Audience participation detected." Ben's windows glowed white, like a screen. "Run," I said. We ran. We didn't stop until we reached the park, breathless and shaking. The swings moved even though there was no wind. Ben stared at me. "This has something to do with you, doesn't it?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. MHS Horror, Story 2 Escalation complete. Casualty avoided. For now. Ben grabbed the phone and read it. His face went pale. "What did you do?" he whispered. "I edited stories," I said. "And now they're editing me back." The park lights flickered. The swings stopped at the same time. From the trees, a familiar hum began to rise. My phone lit up one last time. Yes, horror. Next recording begins in 5. Behind us, something stepped out of the shadows wearing Ben's face, and the countdown reached 4. The countdown echoed in my head. 4. The thing wearing Ben's face stepped closer. Its smile didn't move right. The park lights buzzed and flickered, throwing long shadows across the ground. 3. "Lucas," it said in Ben's voice. "You forgot the ending." Ben backed away from it, shaking. "That's not me," he whispered. "That's not me." 2. My phone burned hot in my hand. The hum from the trees grew louder, deeper, like a crowd whispering all at once. "Stop," I shouted. "I quit. I don't want to be part of this anymore." The thing tilted its head. 1. The park went dark. For one long second, there was no sound at all. Then the screen turned on. Not my phone. Not a TV. The air itself lit up, like a giant invisible screen wrapped around us. White lines drew themselves in the dark, sketching shapes fast. Trees. Swings. Ben. Me. We were inside the animation. Ben screamed. "Lucas, what's happening?" I think," I said slowly, "this is the final review." The narrator's voice filled the park, calm and clear. "For the last story," it said, "the editor becomes the ending." The thing with Ben's face melted away, its edges blurring like wet paint. It stretched taller, thinner, until it was just a shadow shaped like a person. The voice continued. 10 stories were submitted. 10 fears were shared. But every compilation needs one thing. The shadow pointed at me. A conclusion. The scene changed in a blink. We were no longer in the park. We stood in a white room with no corners. Emily's room. The walls curved around us. The ceiling pulsed like a slow heartbeat. There were no doors. No windows. Ben grabbed my arm. "This is one of them. One of the stories." "I know," I said. My voice sounded small in the round space. The shadows slid along the wall, moving without feet. "You watched us," it said. "You fixed us. You made us smoother. Scarier." The walls filled with images from the other stories. The playground. The bus. The mirror. The hospital hallway. All of them played at once, looping and overlapping. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone," I said. "I was just doing a job," the narrator replied. "Stories don't care why." The room shook. The images pressed closer. Ben shouted, "Lucas, do something! You're the editor!" That word hit me hard. Editor. I looked at my hands. A glowing bar hovered in front of me, like a video timeline. A red marker blinked at the end. Ending pending. "I can still choose," I whispered. The shadow laughed, a sound like static. "Endings are earned." I stepped forward anyway. I reached out and grabbed the marker. The room screamed. The images shook and blurred as I dragged the marker backward, rewinding everything at once. The playground froze. The bus stopped. The mirror cracked and went still. The narrator's voice faltered. "Unauthorized edit detected. I watched all of you. I said. I know your rules. I pushed the marker forward again, but slower this time. I spoke as I moved it. The playground stopped moving when someone watched it together, I said. The playground image showed kids standing side by side. The sand stilled. The hallway ended when someone stopped running, I said. The hospital lights stayed on. The mirror lost power when someone accepted the mistake. The mirror went dark. The shadow shrank, pulling back from the wall. Ben stared at me. Lucas, you're changing it. I nodded. My hands burned, but I didn't stop. For my story, I said, the ending is this. I dragged the marker to the very end. The white room cracked open with light. The narrator shouted, No! Compilations require fear. They also require choice, I said. I let go. Everything collapsed into white. I woke up in my bed. Morning light filled my room. Birds chirped outside. My phone lay on my desk, dark and silent. My laptop was closed and cold. For a long time, I didn't move. Then my door opened. My mom leaned in. You okay? You slept through your alarm. I nodded slowly. Yeah. Just weird dreams. She smiled and walked away. I sat up and checked my phone. No messages. No countdowns. No MHS horror. I opened my laptop with shaking hands. The VOL6 folder was gone. In its place was a single video file. Thank you for watching. I hovered over it, then deleted it. The trash emptied with a soft sound. At school, everything felt normal. Ben found me at lunch and hugged me so hard I almost fell over. Dude, he said. I had the strangest nightmare. Me too, I said. We didn't talk about it after that. Weeks passed. The channel uploaded VOL6 without my name anywhere. 10 animated stories. No editor credits. The comments were full of fear and praise. I didn't watch it. I stopped reading horror submissions. I deleted old files. I took a job mowing lawns instead. Life went quiet again. Almost. Sometimes, late at night, when my room is dark and silent, my phone lights up for just a second. No message. Just a reflection. And in it, I swear I see a timeline bar. Waiting for someone else to press play. Developer mode.